Pecco Bagnaia had every reason to expect fireworks in Austria, just not the kind that would explode inside his own garage. Coming into the 2025 Red Bull Ring race, the reigning champion had a history of domination at this track. His past performances at Spielberg had set a benchmark few could challenge, and Ducati had grown accustomed to watching their golden boy convert precision into points, especially on circuits like this. But as fans packed the grandstands expecting another masterclass, the mood behind Ducati's pit wall was far from confident. Mechanical inconsistencies had been bubbling beneath the surface all season long, and pressure was mounting for Bagnaia to prove that Ducati's faith in him as team leader wasn't misplaced. Tension, however, turned to chaos. What unfolded during that fateful weekend didn't just rewrite Bagnaia's Austria record, it sent shockwaves through the entire Ducati paddock. And if you think this is just about a bad finish, think again. What happened next would leave fans speechless and the Ducati boss visibly seething. The collapse no one expected. What really happened in Austria? Bagnaia's weekend started shaky and only got worse. The sprint race revealed early signs of distress, but most assumed it was a one-off. In the main race, however, disaster struck in full view. The Italian rider struggled with grip from the start, and lap by lap, his confidence vanished. Whether it was tire degradation, braking inconsistencies, or a setup gone horribly wrong, the reigning champ looked like a shadow of his former self. By mid-race, he was not just out of contention, he was barely surviving. Every corner looked like a fight, every straight like a loss. Bagnaia didn't crash, but what he delivered felt like something worse, a complete performance breakdown. When the checkered flag dropped, it wasn't the result that stunned the paddock. It was the body language, the empty gaze, and the growing realization that something had cracked. And as everyone scrambled to understand the technical post-mortem, Ducati's top brass made it painfully clear they were done keeping things quiet. What came next wasn't damage control, it was a detonation. Ducati's boss didn't hold back, and the whole world heard it. In the aftermath of the race, it wasn't the usual reserved post-race debrief that made headlines. It was Gigi Dall'Igna, Ducati's general manager, who took the mic and shocked the MotoGP community. Describing Bagnaia's performance as underwhelming and a disappointment, Dall'Igna didn't mince words. His frustration wasn't cloaked in diplomatic language, it was explosive and direct. He hinted at wasted opportunities, suggested that expectations weren't met, and threw in a brutal kicker. We expected more from Pecco, especially here. The message was clear: Austria wasn't just a bad weekend. It was a breach of trust, a fracture in Ducati's confidence in their leading man. And what's more telling, this wasn't behind closed doors. Dall'Igna went public, knowing full well the ripple effect it would cause. The garage turned cold, the media buzzed, and fans were left wondering, was this the beginning of a major shift inside Ducati? Because when the boss erupts this publicly, it's rarely just about one race. Bagnaia was just as confused as everyone else, but Ducati wasn't buying it. After the harsh critique from Ducati management, all eyes turned to Bagnaia. But the rider's post-race statements only deepened the mystery. He admitted point-blank that he didn't know what went wrong. According to Pecco, the bike lost all feedback, especially on braking, and no adjustments made during the race seemed to help. It was as if the machine he knew so well had suddenly turned alien. What rattled observers even more was the emotional tone in Bagnaia's voice, part defensive, part bewildered. He wasn't dodging responsibility, but he made it clear he felt unsupported, even blindsided. "We've had these problems before," he said, "but I thought we'd fix them." Behind those words lay a deeper frustration, possibly even resentment. The rider who once led Ducati's title charge was now publicly questioning the very team backing him. And yet, Ducati's response was ice cold. They expected answers, not confusion. And as the silence grew between rider and management, speculation exploded. Was this a one-time crack, or a signal that the foundation was crumbling? Austria wasn't an isolated incident, it was the boiling point. One look at the 2025 standings tells you this isn't just a one-race crisis. Bagnaia's season has been plagued by inconsistency, DNFs, and inexplicable drop-offs in performance. After dominating in 2023 and staying competitive in 2024, fans expected him to cement his legacy in 2025. Instead, he's been overtaken, literally and metaphorically, by his own teammate Marc Márquez. Marquez, the multi-time world champion, has been rejuvenated on Ducati machinery, making fewer mistakes and capitalizing on every chance to rack up points. While Bagnaia stalls, Marquez surges. The once undisputed team leader is now under pressure not just from management but from within the garage. Austria wasn't a blip. It was the point where Ducati's faith visibly began to shift. Insiders whisper that the championship strategy might be recalibrating, with Bagnaia slipping from first priority to second seat. It's not official yet, but in MotoGP, the writing's usually on the wall long before it's spoken aloud. A battle of brakes, setups, and sanity. Is Ducati sabotaging its own star? Technical analysis post-race revealed a troubling possibility. Bagnaia's braking struggles could be tied to updates made specifically to benefit Marquez's riding style, aggressive, late-braking maneuvers that Bagnaia simply doesn't favor. It's a theory that's picking up steam, that Ducati's current setup trajectory is favoring one rider over another, unintentionally or otherwise. Bagnaia hinted that changes made ahead of Austria left him disconnected from the bike, suggesting he never felt comfortable even before the race began. But beyond the machinery, there's a deeper toll. Confidence, once Bagnaia's most lethal weapon, seems to be slipping. One insider described the mood around Pecco as tense, defensive, and impatient. And Gigi's eruption, it only poured gasoline on the fire. The psychological damage of being questioned publicly is no small thing in a sport where mental edge matters as much as horsepower. Now, with the garage divided and trust wearing thin, Ducati risks turning its biggest asset into its biggest liability. Redemption or replacement, Ducati's next moves could reshape everything. What comes next could define not just the rest of the season, but Ducati's entire future. Reports suggest internal meetings are already underway to reassess race strategies and technical setups, but some believe it's more than that. There's talk of shifting developmental priorities to Marquez's camp, especially if Bagnaia continues to underperform. For Pecco, the pressure is now suffocating. The next few races aren't just about podiums, they're about proving he's still Ducati's number one. A single misstep could seal his fate, especially with young talents and rivals hungry for a factory seat. The team, meanwhile, must walk a tightrope. Publicly, they must support both riders. Privately, they're likely weighing every lap time, every pitboard signal, and every micro-expression. The stakes have never been higher, and in a championship this close, politics inside the garage can be just as decisive as performance on track. The Ducati dream is on fire. Can Bagnaia rise from the ashes? The Austrian Grand Prix will be remembered not for a crash, but for a collapse of performance, unity, and confidence. Bagnaia's sudden fall from form, Ducati's public backlash, and the internal power shift toward Marquez all point to a team in turmoil. What began as a title defense is now starting to look like a fight for survival. And as the paddock moves to the next circuit, one question looms. Can Bagnaia fight his way back into Ducati's good graces, or is this the start of a long, slow exit? Fans are split. Some still believe in Pecco's raw talent, others argue the torch has already passed. One thing's for sure, if he wants to silence the doubters, he'll need more than a podium. He'll need a miracle, because the next time that red light goes out, it won't just be his throttle under scrutiny, it'll be his legacy. And in MotoGP, redemption has to be earned one corner at a time.